Good evening and welcome to the second episode of Meno Mondays. And today I'll be talking about the most common and the not so common symptoms of menopause. Hi, my name's Heather and I'm a menopause coach who supports women to look and feel amazing, sleep better, have more energy, and live life to the fullest. And most importantly, feel like themselves again. So today we're going to be talking about the most common and the not so common symptoms of menopause. How you feel and how menopause affects you will most likely differ from the next person. So, yours and your friends, or even your sister or your own mom, can experience menopause differently. Also, what you experience and when you go through menopause differs from one person to another. So, for example, someone can experience hot flashes early on in perimenopause, and someone might only experience this in postmenopause. So, just to go over that, there are three phases of menopause. So, perimenopause is the first phase of menopause, and this is when hormone levels start to decline. And the average time is 4 years, but this can also last as long as 10 years. Menopause is actually a 1 day event, and this is after you've been period free for a year, and anything after that is called postmenopause. So, menopause itself is a one-time event, but the symptoms that you have during this whole period can last over several years. So now, when I started going through menopause, I didn't know most of these symptoms, and it would have helped me if I had had a list. And the reason why I'm sharing the common and the most common symptoms is being forewarned is forearmed. So I wouldn't have been caught by surprise with some of these symptoms. I didn't know anything about perimenopause or that it was actually called that. The first time I discovered that, well, the first time I was diagnosed was when I was menopausal. That means I'd been period free for a year. I had no idea what had been happening. I knew I wasn't okay. I knew I was getting desperate. Nobody had ever spoken to me about perimenopause. So I believe had I had a list of symptoms, I could discuss this with my doctors. You can imagine, though, how busy the doctors are and that you don't see the same doctor. They don't have time to read your notes for like the last year or the last 2 years or the last 4 years for them to notice a pattern. And as the doctors say, that menopause is diagnosed through your symptoms. Yes, some people take blood tests, but the blood test can be unreliable because the day they can take the blood test could be the day your estrogen is quite high or your progesterone is quite low. And it fluctuates just like it does with our periods. We know that at certain times during our cycle, when you're having your periods, your hormones do fluctuate. So it's the same thing as well when you're going through perimenopause. When you have a list of symptoms, you can actually look at what you've been going through, look at what triggers them, how long you've had it, and that helps to have this discussion with your doctors. Also, you can use it to explain to people that are around you what you're feeling or what to expect, because you may have them and you may not. But if you've got something tangible, I could have done that with my kids to and explain to them what I was experiencing and what to expect so that they're not as equally shocked with this mom who was loving one minute turning into a terror mom the next. That would have really helped had I had a list of this somewhere just to have that discussion. It's a starting point of a discussion with people that are around you. Also, it's something that I could have used at work to explain why I didn't function very well at 9 o'clock in the morning because that was not my best time. That's when I used to have a lot of hot flashes. So I'd be sweating and I'd be so forgetful in the morning. And also just to ask for a fan or maybe to work in a quieter place in the workplace. These things I think would have helped me had I had a list. And that's why I came up with this list to also help you with that. Also, I'd have done myself a favor. I would have helped myself quicker. I could manage my symptoms better because I knew what to expect and what was coming. One afternoon, I was on a call with a client at work after a pretty difficult meeting. And I had had a particularly bad night. I was not sleeping at all. And I love my sleep. So if I don't get 8 hours sleep, I can be so crabby. But I had not slept for so long and I couldn't find a solution. I'd been to the doctors. The doctor had said, I'm not giving you sleeping pills because they just didn't think that was the right thing for me to have. So that day was just like, when it just takes that one last thing for you to get set off. Anyway, I was on this call and I got so angry with this person I was speaking to. It was a work call. And they were complaining about a situation that had happened. It wasn't their fault, it wasn't my fault. And under normal circumstances, if I was okay, I would have just listened, let them rant, and looked at, okay, what next do we do? But I could feel myself getting more and more angry. I was raging because what that person was saying on the other hand. And truth be told, like I said, what we're talking about was nothing out of the ordinary. Somewhere sanity prevailed, and I knew I wanted to keep my job. I had to find a way to end that call quickly. So I just said, look, I'm sorry, I have to go. There's a call coming in, and can we pick this up later? Cut that call. And I slammed my laptop shut and I went to lie on my bed. And mind you, this was 3:30 p.m. on a Thursday afternoon. After crying in anger and silently screaming in my pillow, I thought, I better let my manager know that I was not going to be available for the rest of the afternoon. So I turned my computer on and I called my manager and told him that that was me done for the day. I didn't even give him a chance to speak. And this was so much out of character for me. He left it for that day and called me the next day. And then we just had a little chat and I just explained that I'd had enough. And I just felt like I wasn't going to serve me. I wasn't going to serve the organization well if I had carried on. But at this point, I still didn't, have anything to refer to explain to him so that he understood what it is that I'm going through. So I wanted to just go through the list quickly so you can have a look and see whether this is something that you may be experiencing. I'll also post a link for you so you can download it and then you can use this for yourself. So I'm going to just quickly go through them, really not take too much time. And these symptoms can happen at any time in your menopausal journey. So it can be perimenopausal, it can be postmenopausal. There's no rhyme or reason to when it happens or if it's going to happen to you. So you can get things like mood swings, brain fog, lack of motivation. Yeah, that was definitely me. Difficulty in focusing, headaches. And if you probably had headaches before, they could get a little bit worse. You could get night sweats and hot flashes, which can be quite uncomfortable, especially when you're at work. So, you might need to maybe think of taking something that you can change into just in case you get soaked throughout, and wear layers. So if maybe you get hot flashes, you can quickly take off the layers. That can be helpful. Get a fan or something like that. Your breasts can become quite tender. You can get digestive problems, rapid weight gain. Yeah, and it all seems to come round the middle, which is not great. You could have been eating the same things that you've been eating. Your diet would not have changed, but you suddenly find yourself gaining a lot of weight around your mid area. Your nails can become brittle. You can lose interest in your partner, get loss of libido. Joint stiffness, that can happen at any time. Some people experience it first thing in the morning. Some people just have it all throughout the day. Your muscles can be very achy, can get burning mouth sensation, or just feel dizzy, feel low for no apparent reason. Your confidence can really go down because you're just not operating at the same level that you're used to operating. You've been forgetful, you feel less confident. Our hair starts thinning, our skin gets drier. You can get acne as well, which you probably might not have had before, but that can happen in perimenopause. And dry eyes is another symptom that some people get. Wrinkles, unfortunately, ladies, we get that as we get older because the elasticity in our skin gets lost because of age. A dry mouth, bloating, fatigue, insomnia, anxiety. And some people find that actually with menopause, anxiety gets worse if they have suffered from anxiety previously. Some people get pain when they go to the toilet to pass urine, tinnitus, which is like a ringing in your ear. Some people feel very clammy. They might not even get hot flashes, but just feel constantly clammy throughout the day. Facial hair. Yeah, I get quite a bit of that. Get like little strands that grow on my chin and they get very long. Some people experience pain when they're having sex. On the other hand, some people get a very high libido, which they probably not have had previously. So some of the unusual symptoms that people have with menopause are burning tongue. Some people's tooth decay a lot quicker. People get like the extremities tingle. You get hyperpigmentation, especially the darker your skin is. Changes in smell and taste, kind of like for those who've been pregnant. Sometimes people, when you get that like metallic taste in your mouth, sometimes some people get that when they're perimenopausal. Some people get cold flashes, or they could get hot, then cold, or just, they just don't ever get hot flashes. They just freeze. The body just feels really, really cold. And you can become incontinent, so double incontinent or just one. Some ladies get feelings of insects crawling on their skin. That's called formication. and rage that is unexplainable or that is way out of proportion to the situation. You can also feel isolated because you think nobody understands what I'm going through. And that is one of the things that can also make you lose your confidence. Body odor as well. Some people's change. You find that your smell changes and the perfume or the deodorant that you'd have been using just doesn't quite smell as nice as it used to. Some people feel like they get electric shocks under their skin. The nails become brittle. Some people's breasts get bigger. They grow at this stage. I don't know why. I'm fortunately happy to be one of those. You get a change in spatial awareness. You start bumping into doors. You can feel a bit spaced out sometimes. And some people get heart palpitations. I know if you listen to Oprah Winfrey, she was talking about how she actually had a shunt going in through her heart from this doctor because she was getting heart palpitations. And they didn't realize that it was connected to perimenopause. And some people get gum disease. Some people, for the first time, they get allergies because of perimenopause or menopause, whereas some people's allergens get worse. For me, I didn't have any allergies until I became perimenopausal, and then I started getting hay fever, which I'd never had before. And you can also get panic disorder, so you feel apprehensive, you get a sense of dread or doom when there really hasn't been anything going on. So, that can be quite unnerving as well. So, that's the list that I've come up with. And what can you do with it? And as I've said, you can use it as a guide to speak to your doctor about what you're feeling, when it started, how long it lasts for, and for yourself to see what triggers certain things. You can use it to speak to your partner or your kids or at work. So if you're going to speak to them about what you need, like a desk fan, quiet space, flexible working hours, or even just to help out a friend, if you notice what's going on, you can say, well, I've noticed you've got this, and this, and I saw this on this list, and could you be, it's worth, especially if someone's acting out of character, because when you're going through it, well, certainly for myself, I didn't know what was going on. I didn't even know that's how I was reacting until someone pointed it out for me. Also, if you follow me, I'll continue to give out more tips on what you can do to help yourself. And if you have any questions you'd like answered, then do send me a message. I will be doing this every Monday evening and just answering questions that people have. I also want to take this opportunity today to say that if you're fed up of how menopause is making you feel and you want to feel better now, or you don't want to wait another 5, 10 years to feel better, if you want really quick results and you want to feel better faster, I have a course. The next cohort is starting on the 18th of September. And this is to help anyone who wants to manage their symptoms so they can sleep better, so they can feel better within themselves, but most importantly, feel like themselves again. So just to talk about the course, it runs over 12 weeks and we have live sessions, and they will cover how to sleep better, how to incorporate movement in your life, eating for energy, and reducing the stress in your life, which is really important if you want to feel good again. So if you're feeling like you've had enough and you just want to make a change, but most importantly, to see if this is the right thing for you, or you just want to discuss how you're feeling, then, just jump on a call. I'm going to put a link down below and you can schedule a time when it's good for you to talk, and we can have a chat and see if that's suitable. It's not a sales call. It's just to see whether I can work with you, whether you can work with me, whether this is the right fit for you, because we know nobody really knows until we have that discussion whether this would help. This brings us to the end of episode 2. And like I said, I'll put a link down below with all the symptoms which you can download. And I will see you next week on same time at 8 p.m., where the topic is HRT. Is that the only way to get rid of all the symptoms we're going through during menopause? So bye for now.